right, there we go. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, welcome. Great to see lots of familiar faces here and lots of new ones as well. Super excited to be here. You can have your video on today, but you will notice that you are muted there. I love to be able to see you. Video on is always great. You don't have to have it on. I know some of you might be eating lunch or in different parts of the world, maybe even eating dinner as well. So just as we gather, we've got lots of people joining in. Welcome if you've just joined us. Please add in the chat where in the world you are and what you do creatively. We'd love to see who's here and see where everyone is from. So just firing into the chat where you are in the world and what you do creatively. Amazing. Just while you're adding that there in the chat, I will share where I am right now. I am in Wanaka, New Zealand, actually in the south of New Zealand. So although a lot of the people that we work with are in the US and Europe, Canada as well, I am actually in New Zealand for a couple of months right now. Those of you that don't know me, you'll be catching the accent already and going, where is that funny accent from? So I am actually originally from New Zealand. I just don't spend that much time here at the moment. So good to be here for a couple of months. It also means I'm at the start of my day, and I'm sure we've got people who are around lunchtime and quite a few people in Europe who are probably later in their day. So thanks for joining in as well. All right, loving seeing where everyone is. Amazing. So good. Hey, Erica, amazing. Toronto coming in. I love that. Vancouver Island. Awesome. LA. Nice. Hey, Samed, artist in Scotland. I love it. Atlanta, nice, very, very cool. Hey, Haley, Madrid, I love it, so good. Yeah, oh, there we go, I love it. Albany, yes, nice. Netherlands, so good. I love just seeing the spread of where everyone is here because literally we've got people popping in from all over, which is great. Amsterdam as well, amazing. Hey, Sharon, amazing. Colorado, love it. It's so good. And just as you can see, everyone's dropping in the chat where they are. Have a good read of who's here as well, what people do creatively, because there's a big variety in here. We work with visual creatives, so that means we tend to work with a lot of people within areas like illustration, graphic design. We've also worked with photographers and interior designers and videographers, many other areas within this too, and of course muralists as well. Oh, so good. Yep, no worries, Sarah. So good. Great to have you here. Maine, Molly, so good. Brooklyn, UK. There we go, Hannah. I love it. Boston. Hey, from Boston. I haven't been to Boston for a couple of years. Very, very cool. Vancouver. Oh, so good. Honestly, this is just awesome to see who's here. So we are going to be getting underway. I'm so excited about the next 3 days. This is something that we've been planning for quite a while and wanting to find the best time. And here we are. We thought, what an awesome workshop and summit to run at the start of the year. So I'm just really briefly going to go over the plan for the next 3 days, and then I'll give a bit more of an intro about myself. So the next 3 days are really about helping you to grow and work on your creative business. Day one today, obviously, we're going to be diving right into offerings, products and services. How can you focus your creative energy into the right things to get the outcomes that you want, to reach those goals and dreams that you have? And then in the second day, we're going to be diving right into mindset. Mindset is an essential part of growing a creative business as well. And sometimes we think, oh yeah, my mindset's pretty good. But sometimes when we delve into it, we go, it needs to be even better. I need to think more like a business owner and less like an employee. So that's something that we often see for people is there needs to be a shift in how they think to be a business owner, as a creative business owner, even if that idea sounds a little bit scary as well. Of course, things like abundance mindset, confidence building are a big part of that journey as well. So I'm super excited about that. That's at the same time tomorrow. That's day 2, which we're going to be doing mindset. Day 3, our final day of the Creative Business Summit, will be all about pricing. This is just something that comes up again and again for lots of people we work with. And I know pretty much all visual creatives struggle with it, struggle to get that pricing stuff right. How to charge, what to charge, how to increase prices, how to do that without clients just always saying, no, that's way too expensive. So there's a lot of psychology around that as well. So honestly, I'm just super excited about that. Now, what I would love you to share in the chat, which day are you the most excited about? Which day do you think you need the most? Is it day one, today, we're going to be diving into those products, services, offerings. Is it day two, mindset? Is it day three, pricing? Just add into the chat. It could be all three, by the way. If you're like, yeah, all three are going to be really helpful for me, just fire into the chat. Which days are you excited about? What are the topics that you're excited about the most? Awesome. So just adding to the chat there. Amazing. Yep. Day two, all days. I love that. Day one and two. Nice. Very, very cool. Mindset. Nice. Yep. All three. I love it. Day one. Awesome. This is so, so good. So honestly, I'm really excited about all 3 days. And we often see that some people are like, cool, I'm kind of excited, the most excited about a particular day. Often there's value in lots of different ways. Even if you think, I don't know, I think my pricing is pretty good. Look, there's going to be some good valuable stuff there as well. So I really encourage you to try come along to all 3 days, because you're going to get some good stuff every single day. Even if you're an expert in some of these areas, let's get that even better. Let's turn it into an absolute superpower. Awesome. All right, I'm going to give just a really brief introduction before we get underway. I know quite a few people here. There's some clients here. There's some familiar names and faces and people I've spoken to, which is just so lovely to see you all. So my background is that I ran my own creative business for 11 years in the live event space, which was in New Zealand, actually, where I'm originally from. And then pretty early on in that journey, while I was running my own creative business, I got involved in education. So I did my own business masters and entrepreneurship masters. I studied and then started doing some part-time teaching. And I was doing a lot of contract work with universities and also public programs as well. And they really evolved into something that I just love to do. I really enjoyed that teaching work, and it was all sorts of levels, lecturing right up to a master's level, also mentoring one-on-one groups on stage, online, offline, lots of variety there, which was great. And a lot of them were in the creative spaces, which was fantastic as well. I also started to run retreats in different parts of the world. So a couple of different retreat brands. Some of you might know of my good friend Kat Coke. I've run a lot of retreats with her, primarily in Europe. And then I've also run retreats in New Zealand and also Italy under the Volcano Retreats brand as well. So that's something I'm passionate about, is actually bringing people together in person as well. Now, these days, things kind of evolved over time as they do. And now I'm full-time as a creative business coach, helping awesome visual creatives to grow their business. And the types of people we work with kind of broken into 3 groups. So group one, I would describe as, hey, you're getting started, your earlier stage, you might have a day job and you're like, I'm kind of doing a bit of stuff on the side, but I would love to make sure and turn this into a full-time revenue, ideally leave that day job. Sometimes it's, I want to leave the day job ASAP. Get me out of there, Logan. I need to go now. Others, it's going, I'd just like to evolve this over the next couple of years into something full-time, because this is my deeper purpose and passion. Even if you don't hate your job, you're going, I think there's something else here for me, and I really do want to have my own thing, which is fantastic. Group two are basically the same people, but they're further along. So they're like, well, I've been doing this for a bit longer. Maybe you're already full-time or mostly full-time on the business, but you want it to be more sustainable. You want to maybe shift what you're doing in terms of what you're offering. We often see that as well, and really transition your types of income or add new types of income. But effectively, you want it to be more sustainable financially while still doing what you love. So that's group two that we work with as well. And then group three are basically people with large followings. So about 10% of people we work with have over 10,000 followers on Instagram. Yeah, it's a smaller portion of whom we work with. There's still often some very similar things at play for those people as well, in terms of figuring out and putting things in place, strengthening the foundation, actually doing the marketing. So that kind of gives you a bit of an overview of what I do and what we do over at Flammable Entrepreneur. In a way, it's really just about helping visual creatives to actually do what they love in a more sustainable way, giving that flexibility in their lives, getting rid of those day jobs, and really being able to focus on things whilst making really good revenue, because that's part of it as well, so that you can contribute to looking after yourself, looking after your family, looking after our world as well. I love it. Cool. Okay, so just before we launch in, there's a really important thing that I want to say here. It's so, so important that we get beyond the theory and get into action. So today we are going to be doing some good brainstorms, but ultimately I want you to take action from what you're learning. If you're here to just gather information, this is not the place for you to be, right? We don't want to have people just kind of gathering some information to do one day. this is the year. This is the year to grow a creative business. So I really want to encourage you to look for opportunities to take action today. Right? Anytime you find something, I could do that. How about you do it straight after this workshop? Take 10 minutes to do that thing. Have an action plan, lean into stuff over the next few days to take real action. Not just go, oh, well, one day I just want to know. I just want to know how this stuff works. Because the reality is, we know from working with lots of clients, theory's great, but in the end, you have to take action on that theory, right? There's a lot of information out there in this world, but this is not about information. This is about you moving things forward and actually taking action. It's something we're very passionate about in our programs, is not just theory. Yes, theory is going to be part of it, but it's really about taking action along the way. There's things here that you might know already, right? So there's some stuff I'll be teaching that you're like, cool, I have heard that before, but let's get you actually taking action on that information. Really, really important point. Yes, there's going to be lots of new stuff as well that'll really help you too, which is good, but we need to optimize for action. So just a really strong reminder there, because if you end up with another booklet full of lists and ideas, yes, that might be helpful, but let's make sure you take action on those things. And that action is going to happen in the coming weeks and months ahead as well. Now, towards the end of this call, I'm going to be sharing that we're going to be giving away some free clarity calls with Paul, our creative business specialist on the team. We're going to be doing that live. I'm going to be sharing the link to his calendar, which is not something we normally do, but we do have some limited spaces to do that for people that really want to dig in and just get a little bit of extra support. It is a free call. It's basically designed for after this workshop to do in the next few weeks, to just get a bit of extra clarity around that, get to connect with him. And then, of course, if you do want to have further conversations with us about our programs and those things there, you can get that set up as well. But it's just designed to give you a bit of extra bonus support off the back of this. So I will be sharing how that works at the end of this training today. All right. So what I would love everyone to do, if you want to grow your business in 2024, can you please type grow into the chat? And then we're going to get stuck into it. So pop grow into the chat if you want to grow your business this year. Amazing. Love the energy. Love the exclamation mark. Let's grow. Yes, grow. I love it. So good. Amazing, everyone. Okay. So we're going to launch in for day one today for the Creative Business Summit. We're going to be talking about offering. Now, what does Logan mean when he says offerings? I mean the products and the services, the things that you offer using your creative skills. It's kind of as simple as that. And the reason that I really wanted to run this as day one is that this is one of the things that people really struggle with at lots of different parts of their business. If you are really early stage and you're going, how's this all going to work? Then it's really about leaning into figuring out, okay, what are the things that I can do with my creative skills and expertise? Okay, so this is a really, really important thing to lean into. It's going, what can I actually do with my creative abilities? Okay, my creative abilities within that. So we're going to dive in pretty deep. If you are already someone that's in business, right? You're like, oh, okay, I'm not sure if this piece is for me because I'm already in business, I already decided what I'm doing. This really is going to help you to make sure these are the right things to do, but also it's going to help you to know how you could expand this business, how you could grow this business. If you've been in business for years, yeah, this might be about helping you find out what you could diversify into, what you could lean into as well. So when we think about what we're doing, we often see people have different stories behind their experiences, right? There's different stories around why they've got here, why they've got to a point where they want to evolve or start their creative business. So the first area I'm going to really lean into is the difference between a hobby and a business. This is so important. Just to be really clear, everyone, there is nothing wrong with having a creative hobby. This is an amazing, beautiful thing, right? So everyone here having what you do, designing things, creating art as a hobby, amazing. What we've got to now notice is that there is a big difference between a hobby and it being a creative business. Now, what's really interesting about this is that it usually evolves. It usually evolves from a hobby to a business, right? Most of you here, I'm sure, are like, well, it kind of started as a hobby. Not everyone, but that's generally what we see, is that things will actually start as a hobby and evolve into a business. Okay, so when we think about that, what can happen is people start, as they go, well, I want to turn this into a business. They actually treat it like a hobby still, because that's what they're used to. Okay, that's what they're actually used to. So we've got to really remember that that is something that we've got to be very aware of, the mindset behind that. Now, on this note here is really understanding that what you offer is probably going to evolve from that hobby. So therefore, that's a good starting point. So if you're trying to figure out what to do creatively, looking at your hobbies is actually a really good idea. Right? Looking at the things that you enjoy. Another word for hobbies is the things that you're passionate about. The things that you are passionate about. Okay, so really starting to think about, well, what do I care about? What am I passionate about? It is a great way to think about what you could do as a business. Whether you've been doing this for years or not, actually exploring your passions, your hobbies, what are these things can help you figure out what you could be offering. It's kind of an obvious one, and I think this is the easiest place. This is why we're starting with this. It's really taking your passion and your purpose and creating value out of it. We're going to dive into that second part after this, but first of all, we're just going to do a really quick brainstorm. So just make sure that you've got either a piece of paper, a booklet, or actually you could write on your computer a document. Pop that open. And I want you to write down as many things as possible that are either hobbies or things that you're passionate about. Doesn't need to be related to art. Just write them down. If you're like, I love to run, okay, put it down. If you're like, I like to climb mountains, I'm passionate about sustainability, environmental sustainability, put it all down. Right. So I just want you to write down those things that you care about and don't get attached to it. Even if you're like, I don't know if I'm that passionate about it, put it down. Right. Doing a bit of a brainstorm here about the things that you're excited about, the things that you care about. And this is an example of us going beyond just ideas and Logan talking. Let's get some things down on paper as well that you can then take even more action on. So just give everyone a little bit more time doing that brainstorm. Sometimes it can help to even think back. What did you used to be passionate about? What the hobbies that you used to have? Maybe there's even sports that can fit into that space as well. Like, what are things that 10 years ago you were excited about? Pop them down as well, because there's probably still somewhere in your mind that's still excited about those things. One of the things I'm excited about and passionate about is being able to travel and meet different people from different places. Well, maybe food. Have we got some foodies here? I'm sure we've got some foodies here. I love to have amazing food. Yep, I can see a few people raising their hands there going, yep, I'm a foodie. Love it. Amazing. So just give everyone a little bit longer there within this one. All right, nice. Okay, so the second thing that we're going to dive into around this is about value. And honestly, I think that part that you've all done, and I'm sure some of you might be still writing some ideas down and you can continue to do more after this workshop. It's kind of almost the easy part. A lot of people find that pretty easy. It's like, well, the things I care about, things I'm passionate about, the hobbies. Great, amazing. Now, sometimes the harder piece of it is, okay, understanding the value, because we've got to get clear on this, is that the things that you offer have to have value in the world. It's all very well to say, hey, I love to draw. That's awesome. I love that too. That's very, very cool. It's a passion. It's a purpose. It's something you enjoy doing. Now we've got to take that and go, well, how do we create value? How is there value in this thing for other people? Because you're like, I love this thing. It's this hobby. I feel good doing it. But how do we take that to that next step? And that's actually the thing that people struggle with a lot, is understanding how do we take that purpose, that passion, those things we're excited about, and actually pair them with value that other people hold in it. And this is what you can actually do, is you can look at that list of passions and purposes, and that can help you get a starting list of ideas of what you could be offering or what you could lean into what you're offering. But now we have to match up the second part of it, is where is the value in what you do? And as visual creators, this is something that a lot of people struggle with, is understanding that even if you're excited about something, it doesn't mean that other people are going to be excited. So we're going to do a harder brainstorm, and it doesn't have to be connected to that first one, but I want you to write down what are the things that you can do that other people might value. And this is a very hard one. If you struggle with this is totally okay. What are the things that you could be doing that can add value to other people? Now, yes, we're talking about creativity and visual creativity specifically, but you can actually go wider than that, right? Because sometimes this will help you come up with some other ideas, and it might help you to lead towards an answer for what you could be offering. So don't get too stuck up on the idea of like, well, I enjoy fitness. Well, I could help people to also enjoy fitness, and I could be a fitness instructor. You're like, that's got nothing to do with visual creatives. No, you can still write it down on this here because it might lead towards something else. It might lead towards, you know what, I could do that for creatives, right? So there might be a twist in that, but just really putting down, what are the things that I could do that people value? What are the things that I could be doing with my time, with my energy, with my expertise that people would value? Value is a really interesting word. What we're thinking about here is value that people are willing to pay for. So there's a subtle twist there we need to be very, very aware of. Because you might say, well, someone would value this, they would love it if I could help them with this thing. But then we've got to take that next step further. Would they pay for it? Don't get too tied up in how much they would pay at the moment. Let's go, would they pay? Yeah, this is a hard one. A lot of people struggle with this one here. So just see if you can get something down. And don't worry, if this is a struggle, if you're like, I can't find this, it's actually also telling you this is where there's a gap for you, is understanding what it is that could have value. Because to have a business, we have to do things of value to get paid. And this is actually a really good indicator. If you struggle with this and you're getting nothing down, this stuff here is what you're going to need to work on. Now, you could look at your passion list and use that as a bit of inspiration for the different things there and go, okay, well, is there a way that I could create value from that thing? Is there something that I could do that people would value using those skills, using those passions, using those expertise? And we see this. Those of you putting things in the chat, this is tough, this is hard. I struggle with this. I struggle to know. That's a really good point there as well, Anna. I struggle defining if it has value for others or not. Now, the interesting thing about that last one there, Anna's put in the chat, the only way you're really going to know if it has value for others is giving it a go. So this is why we talk about focusing on action. Sometimes you just need to try. Sometimes it's obvious. You're like, well, I've seen other people have done this. I've seen other people selling this. So that can be kind of easy. It's go, well, for something to be valuable, is there other people out there selling it? If there's other people out there selling it, probably means they're making money, probably means people are buying it. It's a really good indicator to understand value. But sometimes it's not as clear. And what you've ultimately got to do is put yourself out there and give it a go, which sounds terrifying, right? Putting something out there that you don't even know if this is going to work or not. That's going to be part of business. That is part of the process. And you're going to learn a ton along the way as well. Amazing. We're going to keep moving through because we've got lots to cover today. Love that everyone leaned into that first brainstorm. I'm going to talk about the concept of what I call the $300 plus offerings. Okay, the $300 plus offerings. Raise your hand if you've heard me talk about this before, maybe on an Instagram post or a previous webinar, something you've come along to. Cool. Not many people have. That's good. A few people have. Cool. Nice. Okay, so one of the beautiful things that I really get to see and understand within what we do and coaching lots of different people is the stuff that works. I've done this for years. I also get to see the stuff that doesn't work. the stuff that clients really want to give a go, really want to try. Maybe they come to us and they're already doing, and we get to see what's not working. And it's really interesting because what I'm going to be doing in the workshop today is sharing some of those things that we've found, the things that we've seen. So one of them is what we call the $300 plus offer. The idea here is that we believe you need to sell stuff for $300 or euros or pounds, whatever currency you're in. They're all not that far off, these core currencies we're talking about. If we're talking about them, what I'm saying is you need to have offerings that are $300 plus to hit your dreams, which is the important point. So people come to us with dreams and goals and things they want to do. Maybe they want to leave their day job. They want to build a sustainable business. They want to be earning 5 to 10K or even beyond in their business. Now, what we've seen from doing this for years and years is that you have to have $300 plus offerings. And it has to be the core things that you're focusing on. As in, it's okay to have stuff that you're selling for under $300, but it's not going to be the core of your focus. Now, I'm just going to dig into why, right? Because I talk about this quite a lot, particularly when I first connect with people, and people are like, but why? Like, there's so many things I could do, Logan, that are under $300. And it's like, it's true, there is. One of the biggest things here is that it's a numbers game. Pretty simple when you think about it, but we're just going to dig into that a bit further. Let's say you want to make $5,000 in a month, right? You're like, cool, love to get to 5,000. And that it might be beyond that. It might be 10,000, might be 20,000, whatever that is. A lot of people go, okay, well, first step would be to get to 5K per month. If you want to make 5,000 in a month, that means you have to sell 500 items that are $10 each every single month. If you're selling stuff for $10 or less, you're going to have to sell to 500 individual people every single month. That's a lot. And you got to do it the next month and the next month. Even if we make it a bit easier, right? You're now selling stuff for $100, right? It's not too far off that $300 mark. You have to sell 50 of them every month. It's 50 names, 50 individuals. Yes, some people might buy multiple things from you, of course. It's actually really hard to sell those higher volumes. It's a numbers game. In most cases, clients take energy. Even if it's an individual product that you're selling for $10, there's still a transaction that's happening. And yes, you might have things like Etsy to help that happen. But what we've seen from working with people, many people, is that that's generally not the thing. Those are not things that are growing their business. Those are not the things that are getting to their dreams, right? Anything under $300. And I know it's tough to hear. Some people here are going, what? No, I can be the exception. And look, you could be. We've seen the odd exception. However, usually the exceptions we've seen are not sustainable. And those people are pretty overwhelmed trying to build a business off volume. What's really interesting, I mentioned right at the start of the training that we also work with people with larger followings occasionally, right? People with over 10,000 followers. We've worked with people with hundreds of thousands of followers. Even those people there often struggle a lot to sell stuff that is at that lower price. You'd think if you had 100,000 followers right now, you'd be like, I could sell stuff for $10 all day, all night and make tens of thousands of dollars. It's not what we see. I'm not saying they're making nothing from it. Yes, there's opportunities for sure, and that can be a portion of their income, and it could be a portion of your income. What I'm saying is this is probably not going to be the thing that's going to help you to that sustainable long-term business. It's probably not the thing that's going to help you leave the day job, those of you in the day job. You're actually much better to sell stuff at a higher rate. So use our example again. If you're selling stuff for $500, you now only need to sell 10 of them per month to make your 5,000. Or if you're selling stuff for $2,500 per individual item, you only need to sell 2 of them per month. That's only 2 individual clients to deal with. And of course, you can also sell stuff for 5K. We've had clients who've sold stuff for 1K, 2K, 5K, 10K, 20K. Especially our mural clients, we've had some big opportunities there where they've actually managed to sell. Sometimes it's a mural set of several murals, 3 or 4 murals for over $20,000. So they didn't even need to make their $5,000. Well, great. Okay, they could actually make a multiple of that off one client. So this is something a lot of people struggle with, but I'm going to get you to all just do a short brainstorm. What could you do that's over $300? What could you do that's over $300? Those of you in Europe, UK, it's fine. £300, 300 euros, 300 US dollars, Canadian dollars, New Zealand dollars. It's totally fine. Australian dollars. I don't know if we've got anyone from Australia here today. And if you're using another currency, just convert it to USD so you can understand what we're talking about here. Important here, I said at least, well, I'm going to say at least $300. Doesn't have to be for $300. If you've got something for $1,000, $2,000, $5,000, $10,000, amazing, great. Put those things down. Nothing allowed on the page or the document that's under $300. So just writing that down on your own document, doing a bit of a brainstorm, what could you do? And once again, don't panic if you can't answer this, because you've now found the question. Maybe you haven't found the answer, but you've found the question. What could you be doing? Write some things down. Try not to get too attached to the things that you're excited about or not excited about. Just go, what could you do? You could also think about what could you do with about a month's training or focus, right? So for example, there might be people here that are illustrators, but you've never done a mural before. Now you might be able to upskill and learn some things to start doing something like murals. And it's not something that's going to take years. You could get to a position where you're starting to do that within a month or a few months. And yes, you might not be amazing at it straight away. That's okay, but you could do it. You could do it and create value with it. So just pop down some different ideas there. And if you're having a freak out right now, it's okay. You found that question. What could you do? And there might be things related to those previous lists of passions or things of value that you're like, oh, okay, I could do that. Amazing. I'll just give everyone a little bit longer on this one here because this one's particularly hard. Anna, you've brought up a really interesting thing here, and we're going to talk more about that, which is sometimes there's too many ideas. And it's right, write them all down. Put them all down right now. Anything over $300, if you're filling a page, fill the page. Great, amazing. We kind of actually see both ends of it. We actually see people who struggle a lot with this because they can't come up with anything. We also see people that struggle a lot with this because they're like, Logan, it's so overwhelming. There's a million things I could do. Both are kind of challenging things. Let's just get down what you can get down. Having ideas, having options is a good thing. Let's give everyone a little bit longer there. Okay, would love everyone to just share one thing in the chat. One thing that you've got on that list. Doesn't have to be something you care about, excited about. I just want everyone to fire one thing. One thing into the chat that you could be doing. I'm not saying you're doing it. Maybe you're doing it already. Maybe you're about to start doing it. But everyone fire one thing in there. Must be $300 plus. Lots of stuff firing into the chat, which is good. And part of what's happening right now is if those of you that are struggling, here's a whole bunch of ideas. Those of you that are like, I don't know what I could do, have a good look through the list because there is lots of stuff here. And there are some very good ideas coming up here. And these are the sorts of things that we hear a lot of as well. Right, so everything in there from murals, large scale commissions, merch design, art licensing, book covers. I love that, Erica. I'm changing my base photo shoot today. Love that. Increasing the rates. Love it. Amazing. Custom wake surfboard art. I love that, Jessica. Absolutely. I've seen some of Jessica's amazing artwork. Very, very cool. Right. So this is great because we actually start to see what people are thinking about. Now, I'm sure I actually know that some of you here, because I know of you personally, you're either clients or people I've spoken to, you're already doing these things, right? So there's also stuff in here that people are literally doing. And just a note on that, if you've got something that you really want to do that nobody else is doing, and you do some research and you do some Googling, and you can't find anywhere else in the world that it's being done or someone's doing it, you might be really excited. You might be like, amazing, I'm going to be the first one. The thing is, I'm sorry to say, most people have thought of most things. And if it's not there, it may mean there's not an opportunity. Right? People are not selling something already. It may mean that it's really hard to sell that thing. It's hard to find people that will be willing to pay for it. And it's kind of hard to hear. Happy to be proven wrong. I'm often proven wrong in things, but this here is one that is just incredibly rare. That you're just going to amazingly come up with an idea that you can do that nobody else has done before. Because everyone's thought of everything. And I think that's kind of a beautiful thing. There's always room for more people. If you see, oh my goodness, there's lots of people doing this already in my town, in my city, in my country, whatever that is, that's actually a good thing because it shows that people are paying for this stuff and there's value and there's usually plenty more space in the market. So just note that as well, because we hear that. We hear people saying, I have to come up with something completely different that nobody has ever done before. Well, I'm sorry to say, you're probably going to come across someone that's done it. And that's actually a good thing because there's value in that. Okay, so we're going to keep moving through this. I really want to just have a bit of a conversation. We're going to talk about this idea of focus versus diversification. So we are on the ball. Anna, today you are definitely picking the next piece of it, which is great. But just before we do that, I would love everyone here to drop your Instagram link. Right, drop your Instagram link in the chat. Now, important, don't do the @ tag, please. URL. Open the website, copy that URL, drop it in here so other people can follow you. Myself and the team would love to connect with you if we're not following you already. Also, it's an opportunity to just connect with other awesome visual creators. Community is a really important part of business, so just dropping these things in here. Dropping in your URL. Love it. Everyone's getting that, so just make sure it comes up as a link. If it doesn't come up as a link, have another go. Amazing. So good. Loving seeing everyone's names popping up here. And I know we're definitely following a big bunch of people here already, which is great. And I know I've chatted with some of you and some of my team have chatted with some of you, which is awesome. Very, very cool. Awesome. Cool. So we'll make sure we're following you, but go through and just click a bunch of people, follow other people. It's awesome to have awesome creative community around you as well. And we see that within our programs. It's a big part of it is connecting with other like-minded people. Share on that journey. Quick question. Who just sometimes feels a bit isolated on their journey? Raise your hand if you sometimes feel a bit isolated on your journey. Even if you haven't got your video on, raise your hand if you are, is the right, we can't see, that you sometimes feel a bit lonely, but isolated, right? It can definitely be something that happens. It's pretty normal. A lot of people work from home these days. If you're a creative business owner, one of the challenges is that you're often not around people enough. You might not have colleagues anymore. You had a day job, or you still have a day job. That's where you get to connect with people, whether it's still online, but it's one of the things that we see. So connecting with community is really, really important. So just a really good reminder there. This is one way you can do it. They don't need to be strong connections. Those are really important as well. Those in-person connections, people that get it, that you can hang out with, but also online as well. I love it. Okay, so we're going to talk about focus versus diversification. So obviously we work with creative people. Creatives have lots of ideas. Right? There's a reality of it. Creative people have lots of ideas. And often they have many things they could do or could want to do. And that's awesome. That's really great. But sometimes that's a hindrance. So first of all, I've already given you a tip is that, hey, if you've got a lot of different ideas, then let's start to put them into different areas, right? Lots of ideas. Well, okay, which ones are the ones that you're excited about, you're passionate about? Which are the ones that you think have value in the world? Which are the ones that are $300 plus? And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that with more context later in the workshop about under $300 things. But you can actually start to put all of your ideas into these different groups. And you can start to see where there's a crossover. Because if there's stuff that you can do for $300 plus that people value, that you care about, that's probably a really good idea to focus on. And you might have just cut off half of the ideas on your list, or maybe most of the ideas on your list, maybe all of the ideas on your list, so you need more ideas. So you can actually use some of these types of activities and brainstorms to actually define things more in terms of what you could do. Now, some of you here might be like, Logan, I still have a lot of ideas on that list. And there is a balance to be had between focus and diversification. And I hear this all the time. I'm sure you hear it as well. You have to diversify. You have to diversify. Now, people hear that and they take it to the extreme. They're like, okay, great. I need to offer like 10 different things. No, actually, you probably need to just focus on a handful of things. I'm not a believer in just focusing on one thing for visual creatives. I think it might work for other types of businesses. But if I said to you all, you're only allowed to focus on one thing, one type of offering, let's say those of you that someone mentioned book covers, you just do book covers, what you'll probably find is that you start getting bored after a while. Maybe it'll be months, maybe it'll even be a year. What we've seen from working with lots of different people is that you need to have several things you're working on because you're creative people. I'm a creative as well, I get that. So we really see that it's often good to have kind of 3 to 5 areas of focus. I'm talking about offerings, I'm talking about products or services. And yes, there's a lot of different ways to look at how you define that. But 3 to 5 is good. Now, if you have a day job, you're probably not going to want to do the day job plus offer 5 different things yet at this stage. Just because you're not going to focus on it now doesn't mean you can't later. So there's things on the list that you can do later. Once you leave the day job, you're going to have some more time. You're going to be able to focus on something else as well. This is why we say 3 to 5. Some people, it does end up being 2 things to focus on, and that's okay. 1, people get bored. So that 3 to 5 is quite good. But once again, it will depend where you're at in your business, what stage you're in. If you've been doing this for a longer time, for years, and it's full time, yeah, you probably can have 5 different types of offerings. If you haven't, you might want to save some of those ideas for later. I'm going to do that, but I'm not going to do it right now. So defining what you're going to be focusing on for 2024 is really, really important. And it's hard, right? I get it. I get it. We're really zooming through a whole bunch of stuff here, but this stuff is really important to get right. Because what can happen is overwhelm. Who here has felt overwhelmed at some point during 2023 with trying to start, grow, run their creative business? Who's felt a bit of overwhelm occasion? Raise your hand. Either digitally on here, physically raise your hand as well. I love it. Those of you that have an updated version of Zoom, you might notice there's some interesting things you can do when you raise your hand. It does things for you and does cool animations. Love it. Awesome. So really important thing there, make sure you're getting that focused right. Don't just try do one thing. Don't try and do 20 things. Find the balance in the middle. Be aware of how much time and energy do you have. Those of you that have families, young families, we work with a lot of people with young families. We get it. We get it. You're trying to balance different commitments in your life. Some people are caring for other members of their family for different reasons. So we've got to sometimes get realistic about what you do capacity-wise, because what can actually happen if you try and do everything? Oh, it's fine. I've got a family to care for. I've got this to do. I've also got a job and I've got friends I spend time with. And I also love to travel. And also I'm going to have 5 different offerings in the business. You are going to get overwhelmed. It's going to affect your mental health. You're going to need a massage every few days because you're going to be stressed out and you're going to be overwhelmed. And it's going to burn you out. I'm not a believer in the hustle culture. I think it's about working smarter, not harder, faster, stronger. Yes, there's stuff to do, I get it, but you've got to really look at what you can do and how you can balance it. How can you look after yourself? We're not going to be diving into this today, but wellness is an important part of the journey. Wellness, mindset, those things there, super important. It's something we go on and on about and help people figure out more and more during our programs, because this is you and you are your business. This is about you. If you're burnt out, if you're exhausted, if you're overwhelmed, if you're trying to do a million things, it might work for a month. You might even be superhuman. You can focus on all the things for 6 months. But after that, something's going to happen. You're going to burn out. You're going to exhaust it. And that might be, I give up. I'm not going to do this. It's a terrible idea. And that's not success. Yeah, Hillary, it's really, really important. And yep, Amanda's sharing there, recovering from burnout from it. Right? This stuff is real. This stuff is real. We start working with people who have come from burnout. And we need to get that balance. Really, really important. So part of it is how many things you're focusing on offering wise. Cool. Awesome. So I want to touch on a couple of things before we head into the final parts of the workshop. As you know, time flies. Something that then comes up for people is, well, wait a minute, Logan, what about the things for under $300? Or how do I define whether something's $300 or not? So I'm going to mention just a few things based on what we have seen, some observations from what we've seen. Now, you don't have to have everything $300 plus. You could decide that I'm going to do that. I'm going to have 3 offerings and they're all going to be things that I can offer for at least $300, ideally more. But you may have a portion of things that you're really excited about. Maybe you're already doing it that are under $300. What I'm saying is you can still do that. I'm just saying that it's probably not the thing that's going to get to a long-term sustainable business, leaving the day job, earning the money that you want, based on what we've seen. That's basically what I'm saying here. So you could think about it as a percentage. You could still be pushing 30% of your energy into things that are under $300. Now, I'm throwing some rough numbers here, but that's a good way to think about it. 30, 70, that could be a good way to do it. But if you want it to be 100%, great. If you want it to be 90, 10, 90% focus on things over $300, great. Now, there's lots of other different things that fit under $300. And I think licensing is ones I'm just going to touch on because we hear that quite a bit as well from people. Logan, does licensing fit into that? It's like, well, it can, but it's a bit of a funny one that kind of sits in the middle because it depends how you define it. Because through licensing, if we're talking about a commission of a product sale, it's a very small amount. It's less than $300. So what we tend to see is that licensing, yes, we've got clients that do licensing. It tends to be a smaller portion. We haven't seen that licensing is going to be your 70%. Right? We've seen that it could be 30% of your revenue. But the thing with licensing, those of you that have done some licensing already will know, it just takes time. It takes time to get the clients, takes time to get everything in place, and then even to get the payout. And then even then, it takes a while to actually pay out a decent amount. So we're not seeing licensing as the thing that helps people leave their day job or makes people, that sustainable income. It certainly can be part of it, 30% of the revenue. Anyone can do licensing. Yes, we see better results of people with larger followings. We do see that, but there is an opportunity there. But what I'm saying is that if you're thinking, oh, great, I'm going to do 20% under $300 and then 80% licensing, that's not something that I would be advising, not something that we see working, which is kind of frustrating, I'm sure, for some of you. This is just based on what we've seen. Print on demand. Print on demand is another area. It's definitely under $300, right? You're selling things and you're getting a small commission. What we're seeing more and more, print on demand is just incredibly competitive. It's getting more and more competitive. It's very oversaturated now. You need to sell so many. Remember that numbers game I talked about? You're selling things and you're only making $3 per product or $1 per product. You have to sell so many of them every single month to make that 5K. So therefore, we're not seeing it as a thing that is getting people the results that they want. We're seeing it's getting people $18 per month. Of course, there's always exceptions. If you've already been doing it for quite a while, maybe. If you are going to do it and you see some benefits or you're excited about it and you see it's kind of working okay, well, yeah, it could be 10% of your focus and energy. Right, so that's another piece to think about here as well. There is lots of other different areas that you can focus on that could be $300 plus. Once again, they just might be less time and less energy. And what we sometimes have is we have people that say, well, okay, I've got a bunch of stuff that's around $300, Logan. Be very careful with that because we're saying $300 minimum. So if it's stuff that you can sell for $300, it might not quite be the thing that's going to get you there. It might be harder. It might take longer. So we've got to be aware of that as well. So there's a lot of stuff that can fit around that $300 price mark, things like pet portraits, house portraits, some of you doing other types of commissions. It could work. What I'm saying is it's probably going to be a lot harder. It's going to take longer. it's hard to sell stuff like those things for $300. A lot of those things you end up selling for $100, $200, $300 kind of maximum. There's going to be exceptions to that. And of course, there's other things that you could be doing as well. Some people have mentioned education, some people have mentioned wholesale, some people have mentioned other types of things. What most $300 plus things fall into is client work, right? That's often what it falls into, mostly services. And some of you might be going, oh yeah, that's good. I'm glad to hear that. Lots of stuff I can do. Some of you will be going, I hate client work. And sometimes that's what we've got to dig into. It's going, okay, well, what is the client work you would enjoy doing? And within client work, we see lots of different things that people do. $300 plus, we saw a whole lot of ideas popped into the chat. And we see and work with people that have done all sorts of things like these: murals, branding, editorial, packaging design, graphic design of all sorts, spot illustrations, social media illustrations, book illustrations, magazine covers. There's a lot of different things you can do within the $300 plus. And sometimes there's a bit of soul searching that needs to come from this. Awesome. Can take us through our final part of today's workshop. And then obviously we have tomorrow, which we're going to be focusing on mindset. The final notes here are really about how do you put this all into action? Now, I've flown through some of these activities, and you might want to go back and do more of a brainstorm. Look at things and start going, what do I need to figure out to make this all work? What do I need to figure out to expand my business or start my business or grow my business? A reminder, what I said at the start, taking action is the thing that'll get you there. Sometimes what you've got to do is say, I don't know if editorial is my thing. I don't know if mural is my thing. I don't know if leaning into this area of branding illustration is my thing. Try it out. And that's the only way you're literally going to know, is giving it a go. People are going to buy it. I don't know. Well, how about putting yourself out there and trying to sell it? But people go, but what if it's the wrong thing, Logan? What if I start doing editorial and I can't sell it, or I hate it, I don't enjoy those types of clients? And that's a waste of time. In 3 months' time, I switch over to something else. Well, I don't think it's a waste of time, because you're going to take what you've learned from here and you're going to apply it over here, and you're going to do this much more quickly and smarter. So sometimes you do need to just say, I'm going to give this a go. Here's, Logan said 3 offerings. Okay, well, I'm going to do this, this, and this. I'm not sure if I'm 100% right. Well, no one's 100% right until you start doing it. So it's a reminder that ultimately you can brainstorm lists to the end of the day, but at a point you've just got to go, okay, well, I'm going to go with this and let's give it a go. And you're going to learn along the way. And if you've got it wrong, it's actually okay, because you're going to get to apply these things. You're going to get to test these things. You're going to get to try these different things out. This is really, really important. Love it. Okay. So what I'm going to be doing now, we have got a few minutes left. I am going to be setting up so that we can get a bunch of you those limited spots clarity calls with Paul from our team. Right, so we are offering their free clarity calls. We have only got some limited spots. I'm just going to share how that's going to work. I am going to be dropping Paul's link to his calendar straight in the chat. Okay, so please open that up if this is something you're interested in. Now, a few things on this. One of them is that we only have limited spots. So there are some caveats if you're going to book this in. Okay, Paul, like myself, is incredibly busy. He's amazing, but he's also busy, and we don't have unlimited spots for this. So I've got 3 caveats I'm going to ask, and then I'm going to drop down the link. And if you want to book that in, we would love to get you connected with Paul in the next few weeks. Could be this week, could be next week, could be the week after. The 3 things, number 1 is that we want you to be an action taker. You need to be someone that's ready to work on growing your business in 2024, right? You want to leave your day job, ideally this year, maybe the end of the year, maybe early next year, that's okay. But you're in a place where you really want to grow your business. If you're just gathering ideas and information and not ready to implement them, you just want to make sure you have all the knowledge, please don't book in this call, because we've got those limited spots. But if you're like, no, I really want to, talk to Paul about some of the ideas, some of the thoughts that have come up today and get a bit more clarity, great, book in the call. Number 2 is that I want you to be open to hear ideas and open to share your dreams and what's going on, what's getting in your way, your challenges with Paul. Paul might even say some stuff you don't want to hear. You have to be coachable and be open. right? It's really, really important. Paul gets on calls occasionally with people that are like, I don't know, I don't believe anything you say. I'm just here to write some notes and see what you're going to say, see what you think. Those are the people that it's really hard to help. It's really hard to give support, ideas, advice, and help them to see. You're probably going to have to do some things that you are not as excited about to grow your business. And Paul will be able to give you some direction around that. Then the third one, pretty obvious. We just want commitment. If you book the call in now, please show up. Please turn up ready. Please be on time. Please have your video on at table, ready to take notes. Don't do it in the car. Don't do it like this. Oh, hey, Paul, how's it going? You know, right? He's going to get motion sickness. Right? So really, really important. Turn up early, you're ready, all of those good things. Right? And allow time for it. Yes, the link I'm going to drop you is a 15-minute link. The call might go for longer. Allow time afterwards as well. So if that sounds good, can you just type in the chat? This is just me getting engagement. Sounds good. Or you can say fair, happy, good, reasonable, something positive, emojis, sounds good, reasonable. Yep, cool, yes. Right? Really, really important. Awesome. All right, so I'm going to drop that in the link here now. Good, no one said, no, sounds terrible. All good. So I'm going to drop down the link. As I said, there is a limited spot there as well. Spots there too. And some people are already sharing. Great. Some people have already talked to Paul. He's amazing. He's a creative business specialist on our team at Flame Entrepreneur. He's very, very cool. Pop that link open. Put your info in now. We talk about taking action. Just take action right now on this. Right? Don't save the link and go, oh, I'll do that one day. No, this is not for one day. Like if you don't book it in the next day or two, this is the time that it'll work for you. Right? Others are sharing here. They've already had chat with Paul. Paul's great. He's open. He's awesome. Pop that in. It's free. Those of you that are going, okay, would potentially be interested in talking to Logan and the team about how they can help even more, Paul can also set that up for you as well. It's in your time zone, Hannah, right? So Hannah shared what time zone is Paul's link in. It should come up in your time zone. Paul is actually from Maine, by the way. I think someone mentioned they're in Maine. Amazing. So I'm just going to do our wrap up. Please do get that booked in, those of you that want to. And just notice if the timing doesn't work, as in it, you go to enter it and cancel it, it just means someone else has grabbed that time, so to try another time. Any times there work, there's actually availability open for his calendar for the next few days, as well as next week, the week after, maybe even the week after that. I encourage you to just get on it sooner rather than later. Yes, we're going to be running this workshop over the next few days, but you can still have a call with him over the next few days too. Okay, so in the next few days, we've got some amazing stuff planned. Obviously, today was all about those services, those products, those offerings. Day 2 tomorrow, we're going to be diving into mindset. And these things all tie in together, by the way. So do try and come to all of them. Even if you're like, Logan, my mindset's good. Well, there's going to be some stuff there related to today that's going to really help you with the things that you're struggling with. Pricing as well. Right, so we're going to be diving into pricing. Same time, same link. Okay, really, really important. We've got the same Zoom link for tomorrow, right? The one that you used today, really, really important. We will send out the recording if you signed up for this, right? We're going to be sending it out. If you want to rewatch today's training, you're going to get that recording, but you're all here live, which is great. Focus on coming tomorrow as well. Amazing team. And if you haven't booked in that course, I will drop it in the link again. But honestly, just such a delight to connect with you all. I'm super excited about tomorrow. Those that are still here, I know some people had to shoot away. Can you just please put in how you feel about tomorrow? Are you excited? Are you amped? Are you ready to grow? How are you feeling about tomorrow's workshop that we're going to dive right into? Abundance mindset, confidence building, thinking like a business owner, all of those good things. Ready to grow, all the good things. Love it. Lots of good positive stuff here, team. I love it. Very, very cool. Oh, love the emojis as well, Chantel. Love it. All right, team, we're going to wrap things up there. Have a lovely rest of your day and looking forward to seeing you all tomorrow if you can make it. Awesome. Take care, everyone. Have a great one. Ciao.